Welcome back everyone to the WAM. We are ready to go for another episode of our journey into Mark Northern's Effganic Genesis mod as we tackle the local to global challenge here in the 1930s. And we've got plenty of challenges ahead, but I'm rambling a little bit at this point. We've already got the next edition of the Fortnite Fisticuffs booked and ready to go, so let's jump right into it. The inevitable pre-show matches are going to get us going as we've got new face Jackson Barden taking on August Washburn in a match between a junior heavyweight and a heavyweight. Unfortunately for August Washburn, he's such an insignificant competitor in the terms of contention and everything. It doesn't really matter that he's a heavyweight, but Jackson Barden picks up the victory with an in-ring performance of 22, August Washburn at a 25, match rating at 23. You can tell why these guys are still on the pre-show. Moving on into the next pre-show match, we've got an appearance with the tag team champions taking on Joe Bryant and Kamari Flanders. Title's not on the line, just an exhibition match, just a chance to get them more opportunities to work, get Joe Bryant and Kamari Flanders some opportunities to get in the ring. We will not see them teaming up much more at all in the future as they have absolutely zero chemistry as partners. However, Matu Scarborough and Rocco Lockwood, they're the tag champs. They don't have great chemistry, but they don't have any kind of bad chemistry, resulting in a victory for them. And Matu Scarborough gets an in-ring performance of 45, solid. Rocco Lockwood 26, Kamari Flanders at 25, and Joe Bryant at 10. He is still rusty and he's just not that great to begin with, but he's a very positive addition to the locker room and we need that right now. But getting our show started, we've got Bronson Fraley, Craig Bean one-on-one, and Bronson Fraley getting back into that top guy form that we needed him to be with an in-ring performance of 49 along with another victory. Craig Bean with an in-ring performance of 42, he's back to looking good and you love that. These boys deliver a match rating of 47, and we've got quite a few positives going for us. Both managers did great, strong commentary, and Craig Bean is getting better at his gimmick as well. However, this match does not deliver like our opener did, but we do see Raul LaBoy taking on Jeremy Funderburk, and I do believe this is Raul LaBoy's debut match here in the WAM, if I'm not mistaken. If it's not his first, it's his second. I should probably know this, but he's a very accomplished wrestler in Mexico. He was unemployed and we brought him into the WAM. We're paying for his travel right now, but hopefully it doesn't stay that way for long. He gets a great reaction from his gimmick, and Jeremy Funderburk in-ring performance of 22, but Raul LaBoy 37, that is solid and that will definitely carve him a spot in the junior heavyweight division, match rating at 31. Another disappointing match ratings wise, but not surprising given who we've got in the ring. Chuck Wellington, Marceliano Giago in the ring together. Chuck Wellington back to picking up some steam, collecting some victories, and it wasn't without the shenanigans of his brothers that were ringside as well. However, we don't have any notes for it. Marceliano, in-ring performance of 25. Chuck Wellington, in-ring performance of 31. We believe in Chuck, but Marceliano right now is just another morale bandage. However, after the match, a fiery Chuck Wellington demands Riker Zucker come hold a microphone for him. Chuck Wellington then goes on to deliver a passionate statement that he will once again become a champion in the WAM, no matter what he has to do to make it happen. If you're not familiar, Chuck Wellington is on that championship chase, fumbled the tag team championships when he was the one that really set himself up for it. However, he is just reiterating that he's not given up on becoming champion once again. He is, of course, a former tag team champion already, and he wants to hold that gold once more. And just worth noting that he had Riker Zucker hold the microphone for him versus snatching a microphone and holding it himself. Just kind of more flashes of his arrogance and everything like that. However, he's got a gimmick that's getting stale and we've got to address that. Next match, Black Bull, Kitahachi Kukui, heavyweight action. Black Bull's at a little bit of a weird spot with his relationship with the Dark Carnival and also the hinted relationship that he has with Bronson Fraley or Neil Allman, or that he doesn't have possibly as well. But we've just got him in exhibition one-on-one contest. Black Bull gets an in-ring performance of 40. Kitahachi Kukui gets a 37. He is becoming a capable competitor. Not bad from these boys with a match rating of 39, but there's not a ton to this match specifically. And now we've got our in-ring action ramping up as we've got a strong tag team match as Maxwell Ham and Kuni Hashiguchi team up to take on Rahan Marlowe and Veronica Lutter. And the latter team would actually come away with the victory as Rahan Marlowe would pin Maxwell Ham, but really strong performances down the line. Kuni Hashiguchi with the best in-ring performance, and that's strong considering everyone that's involved. 54 for her, Maxwell Ham at a 51, Veronica Lutter at a 44, and Rahan Marlowe at a 50. So really showing the capabilities of what our top ladies can do when they are surrounded by good talent. This is really encouraging. And of course, Maxwell Ham and Rahan Marlowe just came in and delivered great performances as well. Match rating of 51. Our main event of the night has got WHAM heavyweight champion Neil Allman in a non-title match against Blue Mage. Bronson Fraley took on a member of the Dark Carnival, and now Neil Allman is taking on a member of the Dark Carnival. And all three members, in-ring competitors anyway, of the Dark Carnival were involved in matches tonight, and that is not by mistake. But we've got a good competitive matchup. Blue Mage doesn't win a lot, but he really does put in some good performances, much like Craig Bean does. We see here Blue Mage in-ring performance of 42, Neil Allman, great job with a 58. Overall, we get a match rating of 54 to end the show. There's no kind of interaction or major segment to follow that match, just building more tension between Neil Allman, Bronson Fraley, and the Dark Carnival, and Black Bull is just kind of right in the middle of that. But we see here strong matches at the top, and of course Bronson Fraley, Craig Bean had a good match as well. Chuck Wellington's match didn't affect our overall rating too much, which is a good thing, I suppose. But overall, we get a show rating of 51, increasing our popularity in where we are broadcasting. And we praise Matu Scarborough, Kenny Lyles, and the great Matsuo after the show, profiting nearly $4,000, which is a good sign. And we bump from 41 to 42 in the Mid-South, as well as gaining some popularity in the Midwest and Southwest. Since Craig Bean's gimmick is getting stale, we're going to tweak it. It's already been tweaked once. Hopefully this alleviates the staleness, but we will see if it doesn't. And I was just looking at some stuff and I just realized I'm a total goofball. I negotiated for this Southwest radio to have 0% of the revenue going to us rather than to them. I don't think it really matters. I'm not tripping about it. And I think we just have a year-long contract. So we're just going to eat that, but something that I thought was funny that I wanted to share with you guys because I've got some egg on my face. However, I was not looking at the broadcasting tab for no reason. I decided to strike a deal to broadcast in the Southeast so we can gain some popularity there. I would love to run some more shows kind of invading SPW's turf. However, I'm not going to do it when it is a massive cash sink. It just doesn't feel like it's worth it at that point. So we're going to start gaining a little bit of popularity there, and hopefully we'll see some positives come from that. But now we are broadcasting in 4 different regions. Good stuff. In a piece of news that is definitely notable, I've noticed that the passing of Sorley Monaghan has just occurred. That's really unfortunate. We got to find out what happened there. Sorley Monaghan has passed away at the age of 63 on July 1st, 1932. That is unfortunate. What a pioneer of the wrestling industry. If you began this series from episode 1, you would know exactly who Sorley Monaghan is. A lot of the big name wrestlers in the world right now came from Sorley Monaghan's traveling circus. He ended up starting his own company. That didn't work out. That company went under. However, he stayed within the wrestling world. He was working as a booker at CSW, and that's how I saw that because their position opened up. But crazy stuff. You can see that he was involved with many different companies during his time in the universe. He was never a part of the WHAM. He had a fallout with Don Loomis, but after the passing of Frank Norris, they rectified their relationship and he went back to SPW. I don't know if he actually went back to SPW after, but just roll with me here. But 5 different companies in total that he was a part of, either as someone backstage or a manager, because he did work as a road agent. Obviously, he's got no stats now because that boy croaked. However, I was shocked to see that he had passed away. Really unfortunate. As you can see, Manager of the Year many times over, both globally but also locally within his own company. He was a good manager as well. So rest in peace, Sorley Monaghan, but we're not going to do a tribute show for you because you're not Frank Norris, who passed away in 1927. Okay, so it was actually, my timeline was correct with him going back to SPW and everything. But a few other characters have died. We're just looking at this that I slipped through the cracks. Unfortunate. I don't really know who any of these people are other than Carl Barger, but it is what it is. And funny enough, Brian Hatcher would actually be the one to take that head booking position at CSW, so happy to see that for Brian Hatcher. He does have some booking reputation and skill. He's on our booking team, so it makes sense. He's a great backstage personality, but if we had to renegotiate a contract with him right now, he wouldn't want to do it. But anyway, in other news, we also have our merchandising upgrade complete, and we'll probably just rerun another merchandising upgrade. And Friedrich Herzog has relocated to the Mid-South, so we're no longer paying for his travel, and he is the owner of POG in Germany, but he is most popular in the Mid-South, so that's a good thing for us. And before we get into the next show, it's been a while since I pulled up this screen on camera, just showing the power rankings, if you will, in terms of wrestling companies around the world. SPW number 1, Viva La Lucha is number 2, The Wham, we are number 3, Kinky Wrestling, Haruki Atsuko's wrestling company, is number 4, TWA, the Team Wrestling Association, Tag Team Exclusive. Very interesting there, but they get a lot of big names. Elijah Mays, Daniel Lysell, Steven Vecchio, who apparently is a big name now, Dean Grunge, RT Lincoln, Matu Scarborough, Yavraj Tanel, the T-Man, Diego Bergen. There's a lot of big names. TWA puts up some good shows, I will say for sure. I mean, show rating of 58, match rating of 66, they got some bangers. So we'll have to keep an eye on them. Frank Norris Promotions number 6, CSW number 7, Victory Wrestling Group, the all-female company, Friedrich Herzog's Pride of Germany, United Kingdom of Ketch at number 10, and then the Joshi Japan Championship, another female exclusive company actually owned by our own Kunihashi Gucci. And here we are, back with another edition of the Fortnite Fisticuffs in front of 816 people. I think that is the most we've ever had. And we've got some pre-show matches. However, this pre-show match actually turned out to be really good. Tag team action with Veronica Lutter and Kunihashi Gucci teaming up to take on Ivy Baldridge and Burbidia Abeta. Kunihashi Gucci and Veronica Lutter have truly separated themselves. It's not like we didn't know this, but they have made it very clear that they are much better competitors than any women that we've got in America right now at this moment, at least on the Wham. Given our morale state, almost there. We're so close. We are going to really commit to the women's division very soon, but not quite yet. We're going to continue to run these matches without too much context behind them, but Veronica Lutter and Kunihashi Gucci, they are well aware that they are much superior competitors to who else? Much superior competitors to the ladies that they've been grappling with as of late. So we will see some development from it, but we're not going to leave them on the sidelines entirely. Great match rating of 43, Kunihashi Gucci 53, Veronica Lutter 47, Burbidia 36, and Ivy Baldridge 29. Another tag team match in the pre-show, as we've got tag champs continuing to get their reps in. Matu Scarborough building his star that he's going to have in the Wham. I promise you, he's got a bright future here. He's doing great things very, very early on in his career, as you can see with his in-ring performance of 50. Rocco Lockwood just got a 27. Joe Bryant still down there below 20, but he is still rusty, getting a 16. It is an improvement. And Kitahachi Kukui, really nice performance with what may be his first 40 here in the Wham. And Kitahachi Kukui is another one who's got some serious potential. And as our crop of heavyweights get older, we are building that foundation that's going to be able to replace them in the future. Hopefully not anytime in the immediate future though. Match rating at 36, and we're going to move on into the show. And the show begins with Bronson Fraley and Neil Allman in the ring, boasting their recent successes and playing to the crowd. While their actions haven't been all that admirable as of late, there's no denying the crowd loves Neil Allman and Bronson Fraley. Neil Allman would eventually call for Black Bull to come take part and enjoy something for once. Black Bull clearly showing that he's got some favor with them. They accept him given that he is also a Wham OG, even though he doesn't acknowledge it as that. Black Bull would make his way from the curtain, slowly and intensely. Before he could make it to the ring, Bryant Hines appears at the curtain with a microphone of his own. He warns Neil Allman and Bronson Fraley to back off, warning the dangers of disrupting the carnival. He also sends a message to Black Bull, stating he is not free from his warnings either, and to remember what happened to the last man who turned his back on the Brotherhood, that is the Dark Carnival, that being Black Demon, who has not been seen in the Wham. since the Dark Carnival carried off his body. But all in all, strong angle. Neil Allman and Bronson Fraley really did well. Neil Allman was actually a real star in the segment, but the performance of Bronson Fraley was good, so you love to see that. Bryant Hines can work the crowd a little bit as well, and Black Bull surprisingly doesn't have bad charisma either. So, segment rating of 48, strong start to the show, just some more tensions. What is truly going on with Black Bull, Bronson Fraley, Neil Allman, and the Dark Carnival? We didn't get to see what Black Bull's intentions were, why he was coming out to the ring. Was he going to start celebrating with the boys? Or was he maybe going to strike him? You don't know. And that is the point of this segment, but Bryant Hines makes it very clear that he better not turn his back on the Dark Carnival or there will be consequences. Now in our next match, Chuck Wellington back in the ring against Wayne Blankenship. We're not going to keep Chuck Wellington off of the main card because he's a Wellington. This match obviously would be better suited to go on the pre-show, swap it out with the women's tag team match, and we'd have a really strong looking show. However, I'm not going to do that. We're going to keep the Wellington boys on the main roster. They do have creative control. They do have that pull with their father being the owner and our player avatar right now. So that's just part of the penalty that we've given ourselves for that financial bailout way back then. But Chuck Wellington off his game but gets an in-ring performance of 27. Wayne Blankenship not off of his game but only gets 27. So Chuck Wellington not the worst competitor in the ring, but Blankenship of course is a steady hand and he's been a part of the Wham for a long time. Moving into the next match, a much better match between some heavyweights, Sebastian Morales going one-on-one with Diego Berrigan. Good competitive, physical match between these two, actually resulting in a bruised tailbone for Sir Sebastian Morales. Unfortunate for that guy. But we get a match rating of 41, phenomenal performance from Morales at a 60. Diego Berrigan, not a bad job with a 39. We do get the note that Sebastian Morales looked excellent out there, so good work, but it's not the juice of Morales' appearance here. He sustained a bruised tailbone in this match, we already know that, but following an impressive showing, Riker Zucker gets an interview with Sebastian Morales. The victor of the match reminds everyone of his status as champion in Viva La Lucha and states it won't be long before he is once again champion here in the Wham. Segment rating of 43 for Morales getting some words in. However, this interview would turn into an attack when Turner Spittler came out of nowhere to assault Sebastian Morales. Clearly embarrassed by submitting to Morales at the last spectacle of Amazing Grapples. Wrong event. The Amazing Grappling Spectacle, my apologies. Turner Spittler held nothing back when beating down Morales. Spittler busted his rival open. With his fists covered in blood, he would rip the microphone away from Riker Zucker and shouted that he's the most ruthless competitor in all of the Wham. He challenged Sebastian Morales to one final match to prove that he is the better man. Never mind that extra who in there. Segment rating of 41, and Turner Spittler turned Sebastian Morales' interview physical. We've seen these guys attack each other a handful of times already, but we are just setting up an official match for the next Amazing Grappling Spectacle between Turner Spittler and Sebastian Morales, which will be the rubber match, the tiebreaker. Another strong heavyweight matchup here. Rahan Marlowe and Maxwell Ham could have been the main event tonight and we'd be just fine with it. Rahan Marlowe getting the victory over Maxwell Ham with an in-ring performance of 54, Maxwell Ham at 49, and we get a match rating of 52. Rahan Marlowe hasn't lost, if I'm not mistaken, other than his heavyweight championship matches with Neil Allman. It's very clear that he is still blazing that trail to get back to the championship, and he's making sure that there's no reason for anybody else to challenge for that championship. So good stuff here from Rahan Marlowe, and Maxwell Ham, of course, doing a good job as well. And the main event for the heavyweights turns out strong. But the main event of the entire show, and the junior heavyweights as well, we've got RT Lincoln and Super Monkey going 2-on-2 with Hermenegildo Ramirez and Raul LaBoy. Now, Raul LaBoy and Hermenegildo were both in Viva La Lucha at the same time, so I'm going to assume that they know each other. And Raul LaBoy is a very accomplished wrestler. There's immediate tension between these two. And they are paired together, and you can tell the tension actually, because they don't work well as a team. Their timing is all over the place. So that's just furthering the fact that they don't have chemistry like that. They don't have positive chemistry. They've got issues with one another. these issues would extend into the ring, as RT Lincoln would submit Raw Boy after there would be some miscommunication between Hermenegildo Ramirez and Raw. So big upset, as Hermenegildo Ramirez is actually on the losing end. He isn't the one that submitted, but he is the one that evidently was that distraction, that little bit of interference, I suppose, that bump that caused Raw Boy to be susceptible to RT Lincoln's submission. However, these gentlemen still turned in a really strong main event. Match rating of 52, matching the match right before it. Raw Boy had, I just said match so many times right there, but Raw Boy in-ring performance of 33, Hermenegildo at a 60, Super Monkey at a 49, and RT Lincoln at a 44. So good work here. I'm going to shout out Super Monkey here for that 49. That's really good. And RT Lincoln was really off of his game, but still got a 44. So really good stuff there, and we are going to need to raise the popularity of Raw Boy before we see his in-ring performances break through that barrier. But all in all, overall rating of 50, increasing our popularity in all 4 regions that we are broadcasting in, and really strong show top to bottom, to the exception of Chuck Wellington. I will say, I think we definitely did some good work, and we tell Rahan Marlowe that he's awesome, we hug Chuck Wellington, and we give Friedrich Herzog some praise. You can see that Sebastian Morales' bruised tailbone will not be an issue, as his injury will be up before we have any next events, and he can work through it anyway, so good for us, I guess. And we profit 6.2 grand from this show, thanks to some ticket sales that nearly reached 10 grand. Good stuff. And our merchandise has tripled, I want to say, if I remember right, from our last show. It was like 600 something, and we're now sitting at 1800 for merchandise. Midwest, Southeast, and Southwest all see a tangible growth, and Mid-South, of course, still gaining some popularity there. And coming out of the show, there's one specific thing that I waited to do until after that show, is because we needed a gimmick idea so we can change our man Black Bull's gimmick up. We're going to use the gimmick idea. It's just a safe bet, but it's the best we could do. We're going to go offbeat and unstable, which he is particularly good at playing. Very unique, however, still pretty safe, so it doesn't get stale too fast. And we are going to name it... Nah, not really. We're just going to go with Traumatized, I think. That works. I don't have like a specific name to give him, or nickname. So we're going to go with Traumatized. That's very fitting. We've also got one creative idea that's non-specific, that has good probability. We're going to give it to Rahan Marlowe. It was a success. He's still annoyed. No tangible difference there. And I'm going to be a little bit of a menace here. I'm going to make a play. I think it's justified at this point, and we don't like SPW anyway, so I'm going to make a contract offer to bring in Jay Lutter. If that name sounds familiar, it's because he is the father of Veronica Lutter. And as you can see, she thinks it's an excellent idea to bring him in, which would only help our morale. We've got to give him an exclusive handshake contract. We're going to pay him, or it's just going to offer him $25, and we'll make it for 2 years. And he's just going to be our road agent, and he's going to give Friedrich Herzog that opportunity to get more time in the ring. Because since we lost Emilio Suarez, Friedrich Herzog really has not had that chance to get in the ring, and he's not the best road agent anyway. Jay Lutter is a little bit better than Friedrich Herzog, so we're going to see if this would make... Darn it. Okay, that's unfortunate. Financial, blah, blah, blah. Okay, what if we paid him $40? That probably matches his 2 contracts that he gets from both companies. Okay, I think we're going to commit to it. $40, he would easily be the most expensive person on the roster. And if he accepts it, he's not even a wrestler. He's just a road agent. But given the relationship that he has with Veronica Lutter and his ability to be a road agent, I suppose, and booking skill at 94, he'd go instantly onto the booking team. He does not have a bad personality. I would make him a trainer, but that would anger my current trainer, so he won't be asked to do that right now. I'm kind of assuming that we're going to get him because SPW hasn't really ever challenged any of my exclusive offers, and they've got plenty of people that can step in as road agent, as this list is exclusive to those with 60 psychology and 60 experience. So Jay Lutter is just a little bit better than Friedrich Herzog, but I think it would pay off. It's not like we'd have to pay for his travel or anything. And since I'm in the mood of changing And since I'm in the mood of changing gimmicks right now, Turner Spiller has an awful cowboy gimmick, and that just doesn't fit him. So we're going to do a gimmick change. He can play badass and legitimate. Realistically, badass seems pretty fitting for Turner Spiller, so we're just going to go with ruthless. I didn't want you to hear my keyboard. Probably hearing enough of my clicks as it is, but I've prepared a gimmick change for Turner Spiller. Hopefully it's better than awful. Kind of hard to get worse from there, but well, I guess we'll see. And SPW and FNP neither could compete with the offer that we gave to Jay Lutter. That hefty $40 sure would be a lot for a company with $656,000 to pay. I don't know if the contract thing ever changes or how that works. I try not to cheese the whole take from SPW thing too much because of the way that this works. I could probably take any of the wrestlers that are willing to sign exclusive contracts. But Jay Lutter, Veronica Lutter, I had to make an exception. It just makes way too much sense. But Jay Lutter has officially accepted his contract, $40 a show, to be an exclusive road agent. But he is now a part of the Wham, a big part of the dawn of professional wrestling, the birth of professional wrestling in this entire show. So, in this entire database, rather. So big get here for our company. And I'm even going to talk to him, and I'm going to see how he would feel about being an on-screen personality. He likes it. How about a manager? He's all for it. Let's go. Okay, so he's definitely going to manage Veronica Lutter for sure. And who knows, he might even get involved in other ways, but we're going to see how that goes. Okay, we're about to get into the next event, but this is a big piece of news. Black Bull and Layla Pascal are apparently now dating. Big stuff. And we've got a big episode of the Fortnite Fisticuffs, one final edition of the Fortnite Fisticuffs before the amazing grappling spectacle of July. And we get 3 episodes of Fortnite Fisticuffs before our monthly show, so it's just an extra little treat there. But we've got a pre-show match. Black Bull getting back in the ring, defeating Jackson Barden in dominant fashion. In-ring performance of 42 for our man Black Bull. Jackson Barden getting a 26. And we do get tagged for Jay Lutter. Probably could have done a better job. However, we don't get tagged for it being poorly put together. So that is a little bit of an improvement right there. And we did do the gimmick change for Black Bull, and now we get to see how it goes over. It was a success. You absolutely love to see it. That's going to keep his morale up high. It's going to give it an extra little boost, in fact. Another pre-show match, tag team action, and pretty good match rating, better than what I was expecting. Could have just been a product of Jay Lutter being here. However, we've got tag team champs Rocco Lockwood and Matu Scarborough getting a victory over Joe Bryant and Marceliano Giago. Joe Bryant almost at a 20, but he's still rusty, getting a 19. Marceliano sitting right at 25. I think that's just who he is and the kind of competitor that he is. However, Matu Scarborough with an in-ring performance of 57. My gosh, that man, now that he's in a good mood, he's just ready to put on and show out. However, Rocco Lockwood would actually be the one to pick up the victory here, and we got a match rating of 40 in the pre-show. The success of this match isn't as surprising. This is just a free-for-all because we had some prominent guys that weren't on the card, and I didn't want to just leave them off. We had Rahan Marlowe, Diego Berrigan, Maxwell Ham, Turner Spiller, and Joel Cartwright. Rahan Marlowe picking up the victory, and I didn't set a specific victor for this one. Rahan Marlowe just is a man that can't be stopped as of late. 61 in-ring performance for him. Maxwell Ham at a 47, Diego Berrigan at 40, Turner Spiller 47, and Joel Cartwright 46. Not bad by Joel Cartwright, hanging in there with some heavyweights. Match rating of 47, but those are all pre-show matches, so they don't really matter. And I totally skipped Turner Spiller's new gimmick, so we'll find out at the next event. But this match does have some significance and relevance to Turner Spiller, as Sebastian Morales is going one-on-one with Turner Spiller's manager, Chris Brownfield, just putting him in his place. Sebastian Morales easily picking up the victory here, just sending a message to Turner Spiller that despite the attack just 2 weeks ago, Sebastian Morales is ready. And match rating of 49, I'm already really pleased with the performance of Jay Lutter. I think it's just going to be such a tangible benefit all across the board. And then I jinxed myself. However, nope, I lied. This was a Friedrich Herzog match. We had Veronica Lutter and Sloan Knutson going one-on-one, and the reason that Herzog is doing the road agenting is because Jay Lutter is actually going to be Veronica Lutter's manager. He was out there. I forgot that he has never been an in-ring competitor, but so he's always had a zero popularity. But we're going to change that, hopefully. But Veronica Lutter, very nice in-ring performance of 49. Sloan Knutson could do better at an 18. All in all, match rating of 37. Triple threat match. Plenty of shenanigans up in this one, and I'm excited to tell you about it. But we had Chuck Wellington defeating Woodrow Gunter and Angus Wellington in a triple threat match. But as this match started, it was a one-on-one contest. But Angus Wellington was in the ring when the bell rang. Angus has always been the manager of Chuck Wellington, and this seems to be the plan laid by Chuck Wellington. And Woodrow Gunter would very firmly control most of this match, the majority of this match. Chuck Wellington would find a moment to get Woodrow Gunter out of the ring, kind of throws him between the ropes or something like that. Well, Woodrow Gunter isn't down long, but he is down long enough to allow Angus Wellington to slip in the ring. Chuck Wellington pins him, and he tells Kenny Wiles to count it. He knows that Kenny Wiles saw Angus in the ring. So this apparently was a triple threat the whole time, but it was being carried out as a one-on-one matchup. So Chuck Wellington snakes a victory, technically over Woodrow Gunter. Really surprising stuff there, but it was not without his shenanigans, obviously. And no surprise that Angus Wellington had a poor performance, but Chuck Wellington had a 32, Woodrow Gunter had a 45, and we wanted Angus Wellington to be tired towards the end because I thought it'd be funny that if his one slight appearance just left him visibly tired toward that at the end. That's funny to me. Match rating of 33, and we're ready to move on. Bronson Fraley, Blue Mage going one-on-one. Bronson Fraley competed up against Craig Bean previously. Now he's competing against Blue Mage, and he handles business one-on-one against Blue Mage. Nice in-ring performance of 47 from Bronson Fraley, 44 for Blue Mage. He does a good job. Match rating of 45, and no extra shenanigans, no extracurriculars here at this one, but just building that tension between the Dark Carnival and the Wham OGs. Now we've got a non-title match featuring the junior heavyweight champion Hermenegildo Ramirez. And RT Lincoln got this match because he wants a shot at the champ, and he was on a tag team that defeated Hermenegildo Ramirez, but he was not the one to secure the victory. So this one is a prove-it match, non-title, giving him the chance to get the chance. And surprisingly, RT Lincoln would defeat Hermenegildo Ramirez with a surprising roll-up. However, that was off the distraction of Raw LaBoy, furthering the tension between Hermenegildo Ramirez and Raw LaBoy. LaBoy comes out, starts distracting Hermenegildo, gets his attention, talking that shit, and it caused the champion, the pretty confident champion, should be noted, very confident, causing him to get off his game, take his eyes off of his opponent, RT Lincoln, who is not a bad competitor, taking advantage and surprising the champion with a victory, basically justifying a reason for RT Lincoln to challenge for the championship in the future. So all in all, excellent performance by Hermenegildo with a 66, RT Lincoln with a 45, and we get a match rating of 49 even with the hokey involvement from Raw LaBoy. And now before the show comes to an end, Friedrich Herzog has come to the ring, refusing to let the show end. A little redundant, sorry. Herzog claims it's been too long since he's been in the ring, and presents an open challenge to anyone brave enough to face him. Quick little 47 rating for his call-out, and we would get a 47 to match his contest, as Kitahachi Kukui would be the one, the fearless one, to come out to the ring and face Friedrich Herzog in a match. Friedrich Herzog was really off of his game, but he still got a 43. Kukui got a 43 for himself. Great work from Kukui. He's really did himself a favor with this one. However, Friedrich Herzog still a very powerful competitor, showing that power en route to a victory here in 5.5 minutes. And we get a match rating of 47 for the main event. Not the strongest main event. We had better matches earlier in the card, but overall, we had some really strong matches. The really consistent, and Jay Lutter is a tangible improvement, I think, and the morale situation obviously as well. Major improvement, as the individual performances have just taken clear 180 and are trending in the right direction. You'll love to see it. And we praise Riker Zucker, Friedrich Herzog, and Chuck Wellington. Big profits on the show, and we are looking good financially, I would say. No increase in the Mid-South, but we do increase at the other regions, which isn't what we hoped for, but I think we're going to be okay. And I tell you what, we've got a huge edition of the Amazing Grappling Spectacle, the 87th edition of the Amazing Grappling Spectacle. This match is booked as full as we can get it. We almost had to hire a second referee. So hopefully Kenny Wiles is going to be alright. But we've got a couple pre-show matches that of course we had to include, but we've got a massive main card to get through. But first things first, 4-way match, Jackson Barton, Joe Bryant, Kamari Flanders, and Wayne Blankenship. 4 names that need some work, to the exception of Wayne Blankenship. He's kind of that vet keeping this thing together here. Joe Bryant is still rusty, but he does crack a 20 in-ring performance for the very first time. Jackson Barton up to a 29, Kamari Flanders at 31, Wayne Blankenship at 28 for a pre-show match at 27. Up next, Maxwell Ham, Diego Berrigan. I wasn't going to leave Maxwell Ham on the card. I almost gave him a squash match, but I want to keep his ratings fairly consistent. I've kind of been thinking about how much I put the top guys in with really low workers that just eat L's, and it doesn't do much for their yearly positioning, and which doesn't matter at all, but it's totally based off of their match ratings, and if they have poor matches with really bad workers, it keeps them lower on the list, and I want to have at least some top guys, and scratch that itch for me, and eventually it is one of our goals. But anyway, Maxwell Ham, in-ring performance of 47, Diego Berrigan 39, and a match rating of 42 for this pre-show match. And then the final pre-show match, triple threat between the ladies, and Veronica Lutter walks away victorious out of this triple threat match. Burbidia Abeta, Kuni Hashiguchi, and of course Veronica Lutter. Burbidia looking pretty good, but not as good as our top girls. She got a 36, Kuni got a 53, and Veronica Lutter got a 42 while coming away with the victory. However, the ladies put together a match rating of 47, and that's good stuff. We got some gals that are ready to move into some serious competition. We're almost there. Up next, we've got tag team action featuring a new face. It seems that Friedrich Herzog has found his next kin in the pride, so to speak. Moses Lilia, actually an Australian wrestler, big dude, fits that Friedrich Herzog build, and he's actually got a good personality. We'll look into him a little bit deeper when we get out of here. But in big fashion, he manages to win the tag team championships alongside Friedrich Herzog in his first match, defeating Matu Scarborough and Rocco Lockwood, ending their reign as champions, which was a pretty solid reign. This is their 4th defense as champions, so they had 3 successful ones. And all in all, Rocco Lockwood's getting better. He got a 31. Matu Scarborough's going to be a star. He got a 56. Moses Lilia, he's still rusty, so he only got a 15, but he does have some encouraging stats. Friedrich Herzog had a 53. On top of that, Moses Lilia, I should have renamed his gimmick, but he did get a great reaction to it, so that's going to be good for his morale as he gets going. And another plus is that Friedrich Herzog and Moses Lilia had great chemistry when teaming together. Match rating of 46 as we get our night going. Another 46 as Woodrow Gunter and Super Monkey just turn in a good old wrestling match at the Amazing Grappling Spectacle. There's got to be some amazing grapples to spectate. This is part of it. So no big stakes. Again, it's the case of I'm not going to leave them off the card even if I don't have something storyline wise. Match rating of 46, I may have already said that. We got the Wellington boys up in the next segment as Chuck Wellington is in the ring alongside his brothers with something in his hands. It's covered by a dark cloth. Chuck is quick to begin explaining just what's going on. The Wellington Sun announces the birth of a new championship, the Oklahoma Openweight Championship. Chuck states this belt carries an essence unlike any other, and that there are special stipulations for this belt. He explains the openweight, non-restrictive nature, but also the fact that it can only be defended here in the state of Oklahoma. The crowd loves the idea. This is an Oklahoma crowd, mind you. And Chuck then mentions he will be competing for the chance to become the first champion in its history, and that, quote, his father has chosen his opponent, a superstar who has impressed the Wham fans since his time here began, and has been a professional since the early age of 18. And folks, you know who it is. It's none other than Jeremy Funderburk, the funnest man in the Wham. And we didn't have a good match out of these two, no surprise there. And there were shenanigans involved, no surprise there. But Chuck Wellington would make good on his promise that he made, that he will somehow become champion once again. Regardless of what that extent is, He didn't specify what championship he would be holding or anything like that. And we get a poor match from these two because that's what you expect out of Chuck Wellington and a new fresh face like Jeremy Thunderberg, but we gave him a chance, get on the main card on a big show, compete for a title, and stare at the lights when it's all said and done. But Chuck Wellington got an in-ring performance at 27, Jeremy Thunderberg at 24, and we get a match rating at 27. Both of these guys were really off of their game. That's not a good thing, but at least that means that their normal rating would be higher, I guess. That's gotta look for the positives. Chuck Wellington has become the very first Wham! Oklahoma Openweight Champion. Now, big, physical, heated, personal match in this next contest. Sebastian Morales, Turner Spittler in a 2 out of 3 falls match. And I just let the road agent do his thing. I didn't specify any kind of finish or who the victor would be. And Sebastian Morales would come out on top with 2 straight falls, 2-0. Turner Spiller can't be happy about that one. However, these two did turn in a very good performance. Match rating of 52, Turner Spiller at a 44, and Sebastian Morales at a 56. These guys have just been going at it, beating each other up, and we do get some definitive resolution from Sebastian Morales that he is that man, especially when going up against Turner Spittler. And we're not going to forget this time, Turner Spittler is changing over from his cowboy gimmick to ruthless. We were supposed to do this at the last show. It got an initial rating of great, fantastic. That is a complete 180 from the awful that it was originally. So moving on to the next. Rahan Marlowe, Kitahachi Kukui, more amazing grapples to spectate at the amazing grappling spectacle. Rahan Marlowe just doing his thing, getting an in-ring performance of 57 while he does it, and Kitahachi Kukui once again stepping up to the plate to face a very good competitor. He doesn't pick up the victory here, obviously, but he continues to just get some good faith with upper management, aka me. In-ring performance of 41 for Kukui, 57 from Marlowe, we already said that. Match rating of 51 as we are ready to move on, and Rahan Marlowe is a part of the next segment. Following his victory, Marlowe is interviewed by Riker Zucker. Rahan Marlowe cut a promo reminding everyone how dominant he's been and how dominant he will continue to be. He then states that when Neil Allman is done with those giant dark freaks, known as the Dark Carnival, he's going to have his hands full with Rahan Marlowe. Segment rating of 38, Rahan Marlowe is not as good on the mic as he is in the ring, and that is evident. However, we get a really good match in the next contest, as Hermenegildo Ramirez continues to show why he is junior heavyweight champion, and he is putting that title on the line here in a triple threat against RT Lincoln and Raw Ya Boy. No, it's La Boy, but I might start calling him Raw Ya Boy. But anyway, Hermenegildo Ramirez coming out on top here as he topples RT Lincoln, who picked up a victory against him 2 weeks ago, and Raw La Boy, who was the main reason for that victory taking place. But Hermenegildo Ramirez, just with an exclamation point, in-ring performance of 71. I think that's the highest I've seen from anybody here in the Wham. RT Lincoln, not bad, but almost dwarfed by comparison with a 49, and Raw La Boy is getting better with a 37. Phenomenal work here by the junior heavyweight champion, justifiably retains his championship. The main event of the night is not a title match, and we knowingly made it well aware of the awful chemistry between Bronson Fraley and Neil Allman when teaming up. However, that didn't stop us. We're going to do it anyway because this just made the most sense, and I'm still waiting on the jury to be out on whether or not I should just remove the chemistry or what you guys think. But anyway, that just shows the timeline between when these get uploaded and when I'm able to record them sometimes. But anyway, we've got the Wham OGs defeating the Dark Carnival, Blue Mage and Craig Bean, not Black Bull. As Neil Allman pinned Blue Mage, took care of business, the champion got the pinfall, and of course we want these boys to steal the show. Hermenegildo Ramirez was the one that stole the show. However, these boys turned in a nice performance for themselves. Neil Allman with a 55, Bronson Fraley at a 39, Craig Bean with a 41, and Blue Mage with a 48. So great job from the Dark Carnival. And in definitive fashion, the Wham OGs have once again gotten one up on the Dark Carnival. However, that's not going to be the end of it. As the Dark Carnival made their slow way back to the curtain, Bronson Fraley and Neil Allman once again invite Bull to join. Black Bull would separate from the Dark Carnival and enter the ring. Fraley and Allman were tense at first, though after Black Bull took no physical action, The Wham OGs were elated. The Dark Carnival couldn't believe what they were seeing. Black Bull was standing in the ring with Neil Allman and Bronson Fraley, at peace, mind you. Bronson Fraley and Neil Allman continued their parade around the ring, though things took a serious twist when Neil Allman suddenly struck down Black Bull. Fraley and Allman had been gaming Black Bull for months now, spitting on him and beating on an already broken man. Bryant Hines was furious and ordered Blue Mage and Craig Bean to stay put, not to aid Black Bull. The show would come to an end with the cocky Wham OGs standing tall. Neil Allman, of course, shining bright in this angle. Segment rating of 51, not bad to end the night. And Black Bull got in the ring with Bronson Fraley and Neil Allman, did nothing. He didn't say anything, he didn't celebrate, but he also didn't attack. He just witnessed Fraley and Neil Allman beating down his comrades, and he did nothing. However, Neil Allman and Bronson Fraley, the little shitheads that they have been turning into, they just beat down Black Bull, and they proved that they shouldn't have been trusted to begin with. Bryant Hines is furious. Is he furious because his boy just got beat down, or is he furious because he got betrayed by Black Bull? So many questions swirling up here at the spectacle, at the amazing grappling spectacle, and those questions will be, if not answered, they will be clarified in the next episode, so make sure you like and comment the video so you can see when it comes out. Had to plug that in there. I don't normally do it on these videos. But all in all, show rating of 51, very good performance. And aside from a Chuck Wellington match and a Chuck Wellington promo and another promo from a guy who shouldn't be on the mic probably, or I guess who needs more training rather, really strong performances. Not a bad match at all. Even the pre-show matches came correct. You love to see it. The Wham is out of that dark cloud that had been casted from the morale. Totally turned a corner. We've really got a different feel for the company, I feel like, right now a little bit. Of course, we've got our mainstays, our core foundation is still there, but a lot of the supporting cast is changing up a little bit, and I'm not mad about it. And we praise Hermenegildo Ramirez, he deserved it, Friedrich Herzog, and the great Matsuo. We profit $6,342, and we move from 42 to 43 in the Mid-South, 22 to 23 in the Midwest, and 17 to 18 in the Southeast. And gentlemen, I am so pleased and proud to announce that we have officially received a locker room morale of good. We're just sitting as we are, everything as is. That is fantastic. I will say the only thing that I'm thinking about changing right now is with the addition of Moses Lilia, I don't know if we keep Marceliano around because he just doesn't do anything well in the ring, and he will prevent bad morale situation, but I think we can probably just do that now that we're in an okay spot. So that's something to think about for the next episode. I'm not going to make that move right now. When we still got plenty of morale issues that we're going to have to address, but it is huge to have gotten over that hump. However, that's going to be all for us here in this episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. This series doesn't happen without you. I'll catch you in the next video. Take it easy.